I feel if you do not look at solutions from the lens of how it changes it to be better for people, then you have lost, because you're more interested in getting technology out there without realizing what that technology could do for you or should do for you.
The technology is one thing and has the ability to tie all these pieces together, right?
Their first impression of your company is the applicant experience. Developers in particular are looking at the technology that you're using and saying to themselves, how innovative is this company really?
The way we're operating today is significantly different because we have to address the need of the candidate in a way that's different than it ever has been.
We create and we measure and we monitor engagement opportunities to strengthen a work culture where people belong and they can do their best work.
At the core of it, it really is about helping other people and helping the business be successful. That's what I love the most.
All right, everybody, welcome. Welcome, George. Glad you're here, man.
Hey, yes, let's kick it off. Welcome everybody to HR Tech Awards 2025. My name is George Rogers, as Ben has mentioned, and I have the privilege of serving as the Chief Culture Officer at Lighthouse Research and Advisory. And joining me today, as mentioned, is the one and only Ben Eubanks, our Chief Research Officer at Lighthouse Research and Advisory. Ben, this has been an ongoing process since the start of the year, and I'm excited about HR Tech Awards 2025. This is our sixth HR Tech Awards. My friend, how are you doing? What are you most excited about today?
Hey, listen, this is always, I'm like a nerdy kid in a nerdy candy store, maybe a comic book store, not a candy store, because there's so many different tools and technologies out there. These companies are building things to help HR leaders do great work, to enable them to get some of the menial things off their plate and really recapture a little bit of their sanity and some of the joy they have in doing things like taking care of their workforce, hiring the right people, developing them, all those sorts of things. And so that's what excites me, is helping our friends out there who are doing the good work of HR every day through sharing about these companies that we've had the pleasure of learning about. Our judges this year were, honestly, some of the comments that came back were so exciting to me. And I'm like, that one wasn't on my list, but I got to go take a look, because that sounds really, really cool what they're doing. So I'm excited to get into some of that today.
Yeah, so HR Tech Awards really exist for me, when I think about this, to really recognize and celebrate the organizations and the solutions that are out, really driving the progress and the shaping the future of work. And so these awards honor the cutting edge technology. I think about some of the forward thinking innovators, myself looking at some of the judges' remarks and comments that they share, how there's a lot of things that are out there, Ben, that are really empowering HR professionals to really excel and enhance their employee experience in their organizations around the globe. And so it's our pleasure to really spotlight some of these excellent and innovative HR tech solutions. Ben, something new this year is that HR Tech Awards is now a partner. We're powered by Unleash, an exciting partnership that we have at Lighthouse Research and Advisory. And I know that we have a very special message from Mark, the CEO of Unleash, and I would love to jump into that. Here's a message, ladies and gentlemen, from Mark from Unleash.
Hi everyone, greetings from Dubai. On behalf of myself and all the Unleash team, we're so proud to partner with Ben, George, Jill and Joe and all the team at Lighthouse to celebrate this year's HR Tech Award winners and finalists. We at Unleash know firsthand just how hard it is, the vision, the hard work, the grit it takes to stand out in such a brutally competitive industry. Who would have thought of HR? And I guess that's what makes today's recognition so more meaningful for all of you and give you more purpose on the road ahead. And on that journey and on that road, we want to partner with you guys. We're there to say congratulations to all of you, all the finalists, all the winners, and we can't wait to celebrate with all of you in Las Vegas next month at Unleash America.
Awesome. So Ben, such an awesome conversation that we've been having ongoing with Mark and the Unleash team, and really having them a part of HR Tech Awards this year, raising it up And we're going to talk a little bit about that towards the end. But some of the things I do want to bring up is the judging process. A lot of people want to know what does this look like? And we've had dozens upon dozens upon dozens of entries received over the last few months, starting in January. And with those come a panel of judges, the independent judges that we brought in to review the different entries for specific criteria. A lot of things that we're looking at is the problems that the technology solves. The client case studies with tangible results and metrics that we are able to look at. Our judges go and dive into their demos and really look at some key differentiators on that. But Ben, there's a new scoring system, and I would love for you to share a little bit about that, because this is, as we're growing this, and this awards is taking on another shelf, right? It's elevating. With that comes new processes and systems where winners and finalists. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, really quickly. So in the past, we've had winners by category, by subcategory. We still have that going forward, but we made a change this year to have a different scoring system to allow for it to be a little bit fairer when our judges are giving feedback on these things. It kind of came back all over the place. And so we systematized that, put some standards in place. And so we're using scores to help. So you'll see someone ends up as a winner, someone ends up finalist. We honestly, there were so many good solutions in this that really were exciting, but that's where one of the breakdowns is. So if you're curious why we ended up as that, we can get into that with you. We're happy to. Our team's happy to have a chat with you once we settle down from the hubbub of this week. But really, the thing that helps somebody to stand out. You went through that scoring there, George, and I know for the entries I saw, for the ones you saw for our team, even when they're looking at a demo that is more advertisement than really showing the problem they talked about, that doesn't play well for us or for the audience. We're trying to help you do this right for the buyers out there and the prospects you're trying to reach. The other piece is around the case study. If you're just telling us how great you are through the case study, or it's just an interview format with someone over there, but they're not getting into the metrics and the results and the outcomes, like that's what usually separates some of the best ones from the rest. So just some call outs there that we've gone into that. And this year we have winners, we have finalists. Every one of these companies is doing great things, and some of them are doing it in a way that we're trying to make sure we highlight. And again, as you said, George, we'll get to this at the end, but we're doing a best in class for the first time ever. We're going to do that live at Unleash, and I'll tell you more about that shortly. But we're so excited to have the energy around this is just electric. And I know for me, as I said, to start out today, it's such a pleasure and privilege to see these companies, many of them who I've become friends with, doing so much good work in the space. So, George, we're ready to dive in, start looking at some of the winners, making some announcements, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so let's dive in, Ben. On these slides, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see some that I have some slides where it's winners, some have winners of top finalists as well. And so we'll be sure to call those out. Ben and I will do that as well. As we're talking about this, and Ben, I know that you're going to do it. We want to be interactive and share maybe some of the key highlights, things that separate, some things that kind of stood out with this as well. We'll share some of those tips. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, let's go to our first winner and announcement. I'm excited about this, Ben. I feel like we should wear suits next year and guys that have confetti and fireworks behind us, Katy Perry style or something. Came in
confetti and fireworks. You get right on that. I'm sure that's against some HR policy somewhere. So we're starting off with our core HR and workforce category, which it really encompasses a lot of different things, whether it's payroll, whether it's HCM, whether it's workforce management, the people analytics side of the business a little bit. There's a bunch of different things that fall under that umbrella. And so this year, the winner in best practical AI was one model. I didn't mean for this one to end up first. George and I put the slides together, but one of the comments from our judges was this was the very best demo that I saw out of everyone. And again, that's one of those where I hear that and I have to go in personally and see some of this because it's surprising, and they're doing some incredible work there using AI to make people analytics more streamlined. So congratulations to them. Our two finalists were Virtual HR and GP. So Virtual is more on the compliance side, helping companies. They have some pretty incredible AI pieces to help companies be more compliant. And then GP, helping companies scale in a global way. Their GIA assistant there, or co-pilot, is really helping companies to be more effective and to do these things faster. When I was doing this myself, trying to help our team grow globally, it's a lot to it. You don't realize how much that is. It's not like hiring someone down the street. There's a lot more to that, and they're helping companies do that in a way that's streamlined, it's careful, and keeps them on the right side of the law. On the best comprehensive solution, so solution for enterprise companies, Experian had one, and this was not planned for tax week here in the United States, but theirs was around taxes and helping companies to make sure they're doing the right things on the tax front so that the workforce is taken care of there, because you don't want to go wrong. It creates big, big problems. One of the stories in the new book, The Payroll Promise, it's about a company that completely messed up the taxes and asked me to come and help out because I was the HR guy they knew, and it was just a mess. So taking care of that experience, doing great work there. Congratulations to that. Hi, Bob. Not only do they have the friendliest logo in the industry, but their work to help global companies really exceed, really excel is incredible. George, one of the things that you and I were talking about recently around Hi, Bob is their ability to help a culture feel more real to people through the technology, through the tools, and even in a company that's distributed, that's global, it's spread out, they're still able to feel that culture, feel the values because it's woven through the technology. And I know that's one of the important things for you, for sure.
Yeah, totally enjoyment. I think the simplicity of it, right? A lot of times with software and solutions and providers, it can be a complexity of issues or challenges. But when there's a culture, it's a vibe that they have through everything that they do and what they provide. And so, from a unique setup that takes the complexity out of it, makes it feel more like it's something that's touchable and sets that culture and that foundation. I think being able to do that, implement it, you see a lot of people that are excited about what HiBob is doing and providing. And it starts from the rollout, right?
Yes, from the very beginning. Okay, moving on. Frontline focused. So we have a winner here, Paycor. They're actually doing some pretty good stuff. One of the judges' comments was the case study. They thought it was incredible. This national retail group that worked with them reduced their turnover by 15%, working with Paycor to solve some of their challenges around retail and hiring and retention, which we know is a challenge. Even as consumers, we see that kind of challenge. And then UKG, their focus is really around fostering engagement, trust, belonging for people, even in frontline roles. We shouldn't shortcut them. We shouldn't take that away from them. They appreciate that just as much. And UKG, that's been their focus. So congratulations to those companies. On innovative tech, this one to me is one of those, it's like a paradox almost, where you're like, absence management is not something that most of us think of as innovative. And yet, if you're one of those leaders that has to focus on that, I interviewed someone recently on the podcast. That's all he does is helps with the different leave management, things like that for his organization. And he said, you would be just amazed at how complex and complicated it gets very quickly. So they're helping companies to make that simple, make it easy to understand, trackable, no more spreadsheets, getting them into something that helps them to keep that secure, all that good stuff. So congratulations to them. There are two finalists here. Paycor is a finalist on this front for some of the good work that they're doing with their solution. And then Native Teams is is a company that helps employers who are trying to grow at a global scale. And they are they got a finalist here as well for their good work they're doing. So congratulations to each of them. On the core HR workforce for midsize. So we had a couple of companies of very different approaches here that ended up coming out on top. BLR. They are focused on compliance, helping companies make sure that they're staying compliant, taking care of things. That doesn't excite a lot of people to hear that. And I see a couple of friends in the chat probably that does make them excited, but compliance doesn't make people excited usually. But when we just did our survey last year of small and mid-sized organizations, we asked them about what is the number one skill someone needs to be successful in HR and payroll long term. And it came down to knowing the laws, being compliant, taking care of that, because you can't do other stuff if you're not staying on the right side of the law. So congratulations there. Deputy is doing some good work around the biggest problem that frontline workers face, which is scheduling shifts, helping to make that easy for them, easy for the company to manage, easy for managers to take care of. And then Paycor is a winner here for their work. One of the judges' comments was, this is a comprehensive solution that balances automation, analytics, and ease of use, which is tremendous. So hats off to them. Bamboo HR is our finalist in this. Our judges were impressed by their case study, where one of the companies they're working with reduced their open enrollment time period from 30 days, which makes my heart beat faster in a negative way, down to just 3 days. And so that gives the team a lot more time to focus on the things that matter and adding value and all of that. On best, this is our last one for the core HR and workforce. Best SMB solution, GoCo came out here. Our judges thought that the AI tools that they had built in were pretty incredible. Everything from expense management, template generation, all those things to give an HR team more than just payroll, more than just the HCM solution, but the things that help them around their work to be more efficient with their time, to spend more time doing the things that matter most. And then paychecks. So one of the things that stood out to me looking at the paychecks entry is that the data we have says that HR and payroll professionals say it's harder to do that job today than it has been in the past. It's just getting more difficult, whether it's more compliance requirements, whether it's more expectations from the workforce, whatever it happens to be, or more expectations from leadership even. It's harder to do that. And Paychex is helping to turn that sort of problem around by making it easy, just easy for teams that are trying to pay their people fairly, pay their people in a timely way, and to get that taken care of. So congratulations to our winners and our finalists in this category across core HR and workforce. All right, George, we're getting over into your territory now on the employee experience side, some of the things that light your fire a little bit. So our winner here for best analytics and measurement business impact, really, I get excited about home and employee experience for these sorts of use cases, because we get to what sort of values is creating for the business, not just making it people happy, but what values it create on the business side. So Culture Amp is doing that. Their platform empowers organizations to build high performing teams through data-driven insights. That's one of the judges' comments that I thought was really impactful there. And Hi Bob, we've seen them already from a global perspective from the mid-size side. For mid-sized companies, that's where they focus. They are relentlessly focused there. They don't want to. They're really focused on helping these companies do that. And they do that by helping teams see real value, real impact through their work. I talked about the ability to make culture and values felt through the product. This is one of those that we actually dive in with a sandbox, and our judges were going in and sort of playing with it, feeling it out, and just testing it out for themselves, and really just an enjoyable experience. So congratulations to the Hi Bob team on that. Continuing on, best comprehensive solution. Simpler is one of those. They actually acquired one of our clients a couple of years ago, so we've been watching them closely ever since. And their focus is on making it easier for teams to communicate across the organization, whether there's someone in a frontline role, someone in a more corporate role, like many of us probably listening here, but making that communication piece really easy for people, giving them a hub to connect into resources and those things. We see in the data, in the research we collect, that communication isn't just back and forth, George. It's this enabler of trust, of transparency, and Simpler is doing a good job with that. All right. And then our friends over at Perceptix, they're doing good work. One of the comments from the judges is that they're creating employee experiences that drive real value for employers and the workforce. That was how they felt about seeing what Perceptix has put together on their employee experience side. So congratulations to these companies. George, I'm going to actually let you, I think Employee App is one of the ones that you happen to see in this, because their focus was really on helping remote workers, frontline workers with this communication tool. Anything that you wanted to chime in on that front?
Yeah, what Employee App and Engagely are doing, one of the things that really stuck out to me, and I think in the judges' comments, it really connected as well, was how they're transforming the communication. A lot of the challenges being, and we see it, especially with remote work, right, is, how do we communicate? How do we keep this togetherness? And we see that wrestling back and forth with remote, and this is why we need to come back into the office. The Employee App really helps bring that frontline worker in through this mobile base. And I think that's a cool thing with technology, right? Having a mobile first platform that really helps ensure some of those real-time updates and having seamless access to some of those resources that employees and employers are providing.
Excellent. Yeah, I just love when we're able to give something to the frontline. For a long time, frontline workers were sort of afterthoughts, like, hey, you get a bulletin board, you're good.
Yeah.
And companies are starting to realize that's not good enough. It's not trackable. It's not measurable. It's not a way to really get to the people. And so they're looking for other ways to do that.
Yeah.
Beekeeper, on a similar note, that's their focus as well. They're focused on communications, enabling frontline workers. And listen, I'm sometimes skeptical of some of the research that comes out from the vendor community. I love you all, okay, but sometimes a little skeptical. Beekeeper does some tremendous research that I respect. They do a lot of work surveying managers and employees in that frontline space to figure out what their challenges and problems are, and then brings that back use it to feed back into the product. So congratulations to them for that. Employee experience on the global front. So when I think about this category, the first thing I think of is I had a chance to talk to brilliant leader named Manuela Breed from Siemens a few years ago about some of the employee experience they were trying to design for their global workforce. And she was trying to explain to me how, like, some places it's very high touch, other places it's not very good at all. And they're trying to bring that into alignment. And that's not an easy thing to do. And so the two companies here that sort of stand out, Oyster is focused on helping employers hire, not just in one place, but any place. And so when they're doing that, how does that feel for those employees? How does the onboarding experience feel? What does it feel like to be connected in? All those pieces. And Oyster's really focused on helping to streamline that and make it easy for those people to do it. And then Applaud, the easiest way for me to explain what Applaud does is they're helping companies get more value out of the HCM investments they're already doing at a global scale. So if you already have an HR system, but maybe it's a little dated or it doesn't look that modern, Applaud can come in and give it a facelift. I don't know if it's the right term or not, but they can make it feel better, more modern, and create an employee experience through the technology that people appreciate on a deeper level. If you're one of those employers out there that's hanging on to or stuck with something because of a business reason or something else, they can help you that the employee experience doesn't have to be dated as well. So congratulations.
Yeah, one of the funny comments, every once in a while, I know we don't read a lot of the comments, but one of the comments came in, says, not Ben making fun of the old school HR bulletin board. So when you have a software that kind of gets rid of some of that stuff, it's good. HR bulletin boards are still needed for some.
Yeah, you know what? You can post your compliance posters, post your schedules for the week, all that good stuff. But I mean, yeah, I've used my own bulletin boards in the past for things. But goodness, for our people that don't come to the office, when you got a hybrid team, when all these different things come in, like, we got to find a way to make sure we can reach everybody.
The virtual bulletin board. Just gave
Digital
somebody good
board.
business. Just gave somebody good business. Yeah.
There we go. All right. So our companies here are best innovative emerging tech. It's so wild. I actually had a chance last fall at Full Circle, George, at the Unleashed World Conference. I was one of the judges in the startup competition and had a chance to see Welliba, and they bring their solution in, show what they were doing. And out of all the different companies that were competing there, I believe they came out on top. And so they came away with some funding from that event for winning, but they also came away with some recognition for that. And so that was incredible to see. Both of these organizations actually are based outside the US. And that's one of the things I sort of highlight in how we're sharing this is not just a list of companies only in the United States that are winning the program. This is a global thing because good things come from all over the world. We have European companies, we have Asian companies, we have definitely North America is well represented in this as you're seeing already, but some great companies here that are doing good work and creating employee experiences. All right, now, George, we're getting closer to, now we're going to jump into like my territory squarely. I was working yesterday doing a workshop for 30 HR leaders on different talent acquisition priorities and trends and stuff. And like, this is my sweet spot. I love talking recruiting. So if I get too long-winded on this audience, y'all call me on it and I'll move on. But this excites me because it's how we bring all that great talent into the organization and try to find the right ones. So best advanced and practical AI, Smart Recruiters came out on top right here. Recently, I've had a chance to see some of the stories, see some of the case studies, hear some of the stuff from them, not just in their entry, but also outside of that, and seeing some of the ways their clients are talking about this. And it's pretty incredible. So when someone decides, yes, we're going to use those AI features that Smart Recruiters is bringing, they're hiring faster, which leads to all these other freed up amounts of time to focus on other things that matter. And our research shows when you're using AI for hiring and you speed up your process, you're spending more time building business cases, you're spending more time building stakeholder relationships, you're spending more time with those key candidates who are in the pipeline that you couldn't spend time with before. So congratulations to them. Seek Out, also speeding up hiring, but in a different way. You're helping companies tap into key candidates, key populations of people. I had a chance recently, I was in New York City for an event for different talent acquisition executives, this community there. And several of them brought up Seek Out. We're talking about some of the things, some of the value they were getting from it. And for me, that's always kind of fun because I'm sitting back, fly on the wall, listening to people talk about them, knowing that we're going to see them in and around the space. So congratulations to both companies here on the AI side. Best analytics measurement. So the finalist here was Lever. One of the things that stood out to me in the judging comments for Lever is that Lever is helping with three things: speed, simplicity, and smart insights. They're helping companies to make better decisions, be more quick to hire. One of our good friends on our advisory board has used Lever at one of the organizations they were at. And he said, listen, the speed with which we hire is the speed the company grows. So there's a lot of pressure there, and Lever was their choice to help them make that happen. Talogy is doing some great work around assessments, helping companies see and unlock the potential, not just in their candidates, but their workforce. And they're doing that in a powerful way. We see in the research, and I can't help but quote some data, sorry, that candidates want companies not just to see who they are today, but their potential for the future. And companies like Talogy are helping to make that a reality. All right, best comprehensive solution. We have this range of different companies here that are doing different things in different ways, but all helping see these large companies, these large enterprises around talent acquisition. So first up, Aaron, we'll give them a shout out. They are doing incredible work with employee referrals. There was actually a piece in Unleashed just this last week where they were one of the companies featured, showing off how they're helping these companies scale referrals. And that's not just getting people into the hiring pipeline, but some of the other things that honestly I hated when I was doing recruiting. The referral part where someone brings me a candidate that I can hire, great. All the back end stuff of making sure the payroll handled the benefit, the bonuses, and when that went out, and timing, and that was always a pain. And they hook in and make those things possible for employers, a little bit easier for them and more scalable overall. AppVault is doing some good work. Their customer story about a client that saved over $1 million by using their platform to be more efficient with their spend, control their budget better, to get more value out of each dollar spent there was truly incredible. So AppVault, congratulations for that one. Stints, the thing that stands out to me, their high volume work, their screening work, they're helping companies to hire at volumes that would blow some people's minds if you saw some of the results, some of the impacts, and the case studies that they're enabling there. So congratulations. And then iCIMS rounds us out here. They are an ATS, but it's almost unfair to call them an ATS because they've started adding so many different pieces around it that it's robust, it's capable. If you've got certain hiring needs, they can flex to that. They bring in other modules and pieces to make it more capable. So they're just doing some good work there. So congratulations to them. Our friends over at JobVite were our finalists in this category. I loved reading the JobVite case study in this area and seeing how they're helping companies. I actually had a conversation with their team recently about some of the new things that are coming there, and they are not slowing down on their innovation. They're looking at how to bring AI into some of the features and things they're doing in a very methodical but valuable way that's going to make it easier for talent teams to add value there when they're doing their work. So congratulations to those companies. On the front line, Talru, great organization. We've known their team for a while, see them around at different events in the space. They're helping companies to target and engage and hire frontline workers with some dynamic and intelligent tools, really programmatic advertising. How do we get in front of the right people? How do we bring those populations in? And then Dayforce. Can I say Dayforce shocked us? When our judge saw this one, they called me immediately. And I'm thinking, okay, number one, is this even the right category? Dayforce is an HCM company. Like, no, you got to see what they're doing here. So their Flex Work product helps companies to tap into frontline workers. You can reach out to people, you can hire them quickly. And the stat that said it all to me, that was sort of the killer stat, was that when someone's claiming these shifts that you can tap into these populations for bringing them in, that claiming that for a shift, the average is 24 seconds. So rapid and incredible. So frontline focus for each of these companies. Congratulations to the winners there. Our winners for best innovative or emerging tech. So this category tries to encompass, George, that sometimes new things pop up that we don't expect. New things come up that are beyond definition in some cases, which makes it really hard. You've seen me on those meetings, George, where my brain's trying to figure out how to classify a company, and it's just having a hard time doing that. So these companies here are doing some pretty innovative and exciting things, and I'll run through each really quickly. So find them. Their focus is on helping companies to source deeply, see talent at a deeper level. 3D data, really incredible there. I was speaking with a company recently that just started using Find Them and is blown away by the detail they can find when they're searching. It's not just by skill or by job, but they can search for candidates by a company that was a growth company that went from 10 million to 100 million. Like, they can search for those filters and find people that have done that in a proven way and try to hire those individuals. And so that sort of thing's pretty wild. Hiring Branch, our friends over there, they're doing good work with assessments, the big focus on call center, contact center, some of the hiring in that space, we all know is, that's like bare knuckle fighting, it feels like. And they're helping companies to do that in a way that respects candidates, sees what they can do, help the company be more confident in their decisions from an assessment perspective and knowing their skills. So good work to hiring branch. Match 2 was one that is one of those that's almost beyond definition. So they're a new entrant to the category, into the space overall, really. But their story, their case study is about helping to match jobs to candidates, not candidates to jobs, which is what we would expect. And so you'll have to take a look at what they're doing if you want to know more about it, but congratulations to them. And then Worksome is our final one here. They're helping companies to manage and bring on and support their freelance talent, because most of us know that talent doesn't exist in our typical applicant tracking systems and other hiring solutions. And so they're helping companies to see that other population of people to bring in at a deeper level. All right, let's continue on. I'm gonna take a deep breath, George, and then dive in some more. So the emerging tech finalists here. So Faster.ai, their focus is similar to what I mentioned earlier with Applaud. If you're using a solution that may be a little bit older, a little more dated, but you're kind of hung on that for some reason, maybe your finance systems are hooked in, so you've got to stay with a certain payroll solution and you can't get a new ATS, they will overlay your existing ATS and supercharge it. Simplest way to explain what Faster does. Next thing, they have done a lot of work. They're an RPO, but they've developed their own high volume hiring solution, and their focus is around helping someone do that very, very rapidly. So their case study for the company that they shared there, they were helping go from apply to hire in 60 seconds for some roles that were high volume. So that just shows you how quickly things are changing, how quickly they can change for those companies that are looking for that kind of rapid hiring, when it's just, we need some people, we need them quickly, and that's the focus. In Selection Lab, their focus is assessments. So helping companies solve what we found in our research this year, the number one challenge for talent acquisition leaders right now. It's not attracting, it's not their brand, it's not how we talk about what we're doing, it's picking the right and best person, the most suitable candidate for the job. And Selection Lab is helping companies to accomplish that. One last one here on talent acquisition, and then we're going to move on to analytics, my other nerdy side hobby. So iSolved has this rich history in HR technology, but also HR services. If you're not familiar with the company, it's a big focus of what they enable through their partner network. They now have services for hiring as well, but this evolution, bringing them into the talent acquisition side, really came when their announcement came recently. The Applicant Pro technology has been out there as an ATS for many years. I used it myself when I was working for an HR consultant maybe 15 years ago. And that's been an iSolved like part of the family all along. And they've now brought that in, started to revise that, revamp that, and make that available standalone. And so congratulations to iSolved for the win there. And then our friends over at Jazz HR. So we've seen Employ a couple times pop up. Jazz HR is their solution for smaller organizations that are looking at, how do I get going quickly? We've outgrown the careers at email address on the website. We've outgrown all these spreadsheets. We need something. We can't spend 6 months building this out. We need it right now. And Jazz HR is there to help them start that off quickly, get up and going, and scale that up from the ground up. So congratulations to each of the winners in talent acquisition across the board. A lot of good stuff there. A lot of entries in TA, but there's so much there. We heard from Mark George earlier. It's a crowded space. It's a competitive market. And so, I mean, yeah, it is what it is, but we respect all of you for what you're doing, for the work you're doing there. George?
Ben. Some of the things that I was going to let you breathe for a second, but you were like on a roll. And I know as a speaker, once you're getting on a roll, it just keeps on going. One of the things that really stuck out with me in the TA space as you're taking your breather, Ben, some things that really stuck out to me. There was a couple of companies, and I know we mentioned them, but some of the research that we have, and I think you may have mentioned it, some things that really impressed me, being a part of TA and diving into it, is candidates are 7 times more likely. That was a highlight for me to say that they trust. And their trust increases when a company encourages referrals. And so that's a highlight, I believe, back with Aaron and they're doing. Of course, Aaron's going to stick out with me because they give shoes out. And so I had to plug the shoe connection with their award. But one of the things that I think is important is when you look at the TA space, Ben, and with candidates and what they're looking for more, and we see this in our recent research as well, is that people are seeking that connection. It's not just hire me, but how do I connect with your company? And there's so many solutions, as we mentioned, with a lot of these award winners that are doing a great job at connecting not just the solution and the software, but also how does this work with people. And I think that's important, as we see in our research, man, the connection with the solution, the provider with a lot of these HR tech companies, but how it can make our jobs, the employers, easier when we're looking at these candidates and people that are coming into our company.
Yeah. Well, I talked about it on some of the communication tools for frontline, things like that, but it matters there too. One of the stats I shared with an audience yesterday in a presentation on the new TA research was fewer than 2 in 10 candidates say that they fully trust that an employer's brand is very honest. If that's true, what can we do to build trust? That makes me immediately go to what can we do to build trust? And as you see some of these solutions that are winning here, George, to your point, like they're helping to make it transparent what the company's looking for. They're trying to give someone a chance to show what they're really about. They're trying to do this in a way that helps us see the candidate at a human level and give them a chance to make a decision based on the best information available to them. And so those different pieces tie in there for sure. And the referrals, yeah, that was always one that blows my mind to see the number there. But across the board is how do we make this a better experience for those candidates, and not just to make them happy, but we want to attract the best. We want to hire the best.
Yeah, a lot of businessmen are going into this data driven. I'm excited about this. I know, talent acquisition is kind of like the heart of the soul of where you are in the HR space. But I know that if we say data research and analytics, the smell gets wider. I'm excited about this because I've been working with some of these and having conversations with a lot of these people within the talent analytics space. And so as you have been pushing me into my inner data nerd, I'm excited about these winners. Let's dive into the talent analytics and hear more about that.
Yeah, I'm pushing you into your discomfort zone, George, but with the data, because you're a relational person. But what we find in the research, some new research and data on this, and I'll go on, I promise you all, the data shows that being just human focused or being just data focused, neither one of those leads to the best outcomes. But when you have a team that says people and data are equally important, we use the data to serve the people, which is what you'll see in this category in the next few minutes. They're using data to serve the people, whether it's a candidate or it's an employee or it's a leader in the business. Those are the ones that end up with the best results, the best outcomes, the best performance overall. So congratulations to our winners here for best analytics, measurement, business impacts in the talent analytics category. Team Our People Insight is doing some really good work there. And one of the things that we saw in their case study is it's about bringing different data sources together, helping companies unify this. And they're doing it for companies that are like mid-size. So these companies often don't have the big budget for some of the solutions out there, but they're able to get in there. And they also have a services piece so that you're like, listen, I don't have a data analyst. I don't have a Ben on the team, but I've got, someone that has a little bit of time. They'll help you with an analyst as well, bringing them in on that piece. So congratulations to People Insight. We're proud of you. One model, mentioned them earlier for some of the work they're doing around AI, but here, one of the things that stood out to us was the customer case study that they shared. One of the things that their customers was blown away by was it took us days to generate reports before, and now it's hours. So the time to value, the time to react, the time to get back to that leader and answer their question is dramatically shortened, and that adds a lot of relevancy to that person, that team that's trying to make an impact on the business using data. Cognitive over here for best innovative emerging tech, they were one I had a chance to review. I had the pleasure of reviewing, I'll say, because it was pretty incredible to see what they were doing. They're using organizational network analysis, or ONA, for those in the know, to help see what's happening in the business and then using those inputs to solve practical problems. It's not enough to say, oh, look, here's a really cool map of the organization, but what do we do with that? And so one of the examples is there, one of the companies they're working with saw a 40% reduction in time to productivity. That's adding new value that wasn't there before because of the insights they generated there from that solution. So congratulations to them. These three companies are our winners for best talent intelligence solution for very different types of reasons. So Fit is doing some good work. Their case study with a Middle Eastern utility organization, their story about how they help them see the skills, understand what's happening in the business, using those to solve real problems. That was really encouraging to see that one. Jovio is doing some good work around programmatic, giving companies insights on source, cost, other factors that go into hiring. So they're making better decisions every time they're going back to find a candidate. And then Surveil is doing it in a very different way. They're helping companies make decisions on hiring, but through the lens of candidate feedback and surveys and data points. So getting it right from those candidates, right at the moment of need or right at the moment of interaction, to use that data to sharpen the saw, to improve what they're doing, and to make a better impact in all the work they're doing there. So many good companies in our talent intelligence category as finalists this time around. So Humoreso, one of our the quote there that got me from one of our judges was, "This is not just a data gathering platform; it's a decision enabling platform." That really gets to the heart of what this is about. It's not just more busy work for us or for our people to do things, but how do we use this data to make a better choice, better decision? Salary.com, continue to run my wheel here. They've been doing a lot of work in compensation for years across the board, market pricing, those sorts of things. And they just added in a new feature around using job posting data to help companies use that as another layer for how to price their jobs and market price, whether they're meeting the needs of the market or their current employees, using that to help factor that in. What we see in the compensation data we collect, the research around that, is that that's not the only tool companies use, but they like having a couple different ways to measure, not just a survey and not just job posting data and not just this other, peer factor maybe, but all these different pieces together give them better insight into what's happening and let them make that decision in a more confident way. The team over at TrueComp, their focus is comp, as you guessed probably, but it's really focused on governments, agencies, municipalities, and that public sector world is wildly different. If you spend a few minutes talking to someone in that side, you say, well, here's a solution for you. George, you and I were at the Iowa Employment Conference a few weeks ago. After my session, someone came up and was chatting with me. She started asking me the problems. I started to give her an answer. She said, oh, by the way, I work for a local county. And like, okay, all the ideas it's going to give you have to go out the window. We've got to start from the drawing board because that's a different world that you live in. And so TrueComp is focused on serving that and helping them be better at their compensation. Talent Neuron, probably a name many of you recognize. They've been around the industry for many years. They recently have really started investing heavily in innovation. Their team is, they've got a new team over there, and we've been watching them for the last year or so. And some of the things they're doing, the new capabilities, really exciting, like sentiment analysis, looking at data that's outside the business or employee feedback sites and things, trying to figure out what's happening there, using competitive insights, just a lot of good things they're doing to help companies make better decisions. And then Beamery, they're one of the companies you would expect to see probably in talent acquisition. And so when this one came through the pipeline, the team was looking at it, and they are using AI tools or using algorithms to help companies see the skills they have, understand build out a framework for what skills exist in the business, what opportunities exist to upskill people, where should we be hiring, like those bigger questions companies are asking. Beamery is using all of their legacy value they've created in talent acquisition to start expanding that into other areas in talent management and so on. So good, kudos on them and well done. George, I'm going to throw this first one to you because I don't know how many of these here you touched, but I know at least that first one, I'm pretty sure you had a chance to take a look at what they were doing around measuring leadership. And that feels like if you're going to say data at me, I'm going to say measuring leadership or leadership at you and just throw that at you and watch you do your little shiver. Anything you want to chime in here on that?
I'm like trying to figure out what it is. I know you always lean back whenever you hear data on that. But one of the things, Ben, I always say, and what's really intrigued me getting into the analytics and data aspect of how it really aligns with the organization is these three companies are really doing a great job at being able to provide it, at leveraging the data, right, and the insights and how it really aligns with leadership development. I think with Pensight, their leadership development and succession plan, right? It's not just about how we're supporting, but how do we continue to provide this, and their commitment to really promoting that, not just to have it, but it's a fair and really objective evaluations that really ensures the organization that really highlights that. For Guild, being able to connect and meet with them, some of the things that, from a talent development standpoint, that really blends into that tuition-free education access, personalization, coaching, right? There's so much that really aligns, and how it then takes on a form of itself then, and how it aligns with the business aspect of it as well. So skill building and tools that Guild Talent Advantage really provides through that integration really help scale that as well. And the Scoots is, it sets itself apart, in my opinion. When I looked at this and looked at some of the judges' comments, when I dug into it myself and looked at some of the demos, I was really intrigued by it. I'm a transformational type person, right? There's, transformational versus transactional. The transforming tradition that they provide, and it really stands out from an engaging process. To really, again, we talk about skill building, we talk about collaborative learning, and where you're not just doing it by yourself. For me, I need Ben with me. I need to collaborate. I want to learn as a group. And so some people thrive solo. For me, I really love what they're doing there, because you can have that personalized development path, right? But you can also have that collaborative, people first approach. And so it really empowers organizations and companies out there to really turn their workforce around into a strategic advantage. And so both for the individual, but also both for the business growth as well. And so congratulations, Pennside Guild Scooch. I was excited about it. Ben, I don't know if leadership development and data put the same smile. My cheeks are hurting.
I don't know. I don't know.
But,
I don't know.
But I really love what they're doing. Yes.
Yeah. The Skooks team, they're like I told someone the other day, they know frontline almost better than anybody else when it comes to learning. And so, yeah, that one was exciting. And these other companies, incredible work there. So congratulations to them. As you can tell, we've merged to the talent development category. I just kept plowing forward. Talent development category here. So we're talking about learning, growth, upskilling employees, reskilling, all those sorts of pieces are going to be covered in the next few categories we're looking at, or few bits, and then we'll turn on to talent management before we cruise to the end for total rewards. So on the talent development side, best talent intelligence solution, Cornerstone, one here. They have some new AI features coming, and they are game changers. Some of the things we've seen already in the product, in their case study, and some of the demos and things are pretty incredible. They also have some new things coming as well that really give us a deeper insight into our people. They have they've done some pretty wild things. They were also one of the companies featured in that recent Unleash piece alongside Aaron, and I'm blanking on who else it was off the top of my head, so forgive me for that. Okay, best innovative emerging tech winner here was Atana. So their focus, George, we've gotten to know them over the last year, so I was intrigued to see what they put together here. Fact check me on this, okay? Their focus is helping deliver learning content that drives results and value for the workforce and for employers.
Yeah, that's good. I think, Ben, what I want to add to that, because I think it's different than what I've seen in a lot of what I love about Atana, because they really tackle the most challenging topics. I like to call it the untouchables, right? So they dive into tough conversations and challenges to really provide more of a respectful, inclusive workplace. But it also talks about the diversity, the sexual harassment prevention. So they really dive into leveraging the behavior theory with analytics tied into it. So I love what they're doing. And Tana, they really empower those organizations through that meaningful change and really quantify that. So very in depth on the untouchables that they're educating their clients.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you for calling that one out. That was one of the things that did stand out for me too. So, all right, our finalist here for best innovative emerging tech, Trainery. So we had a chance to meet the Trainery, just happened to coincide with this, and they are building out some different pieces to their platform, their product. But for those companies that are doing a lot of in-person training and all the logistics associated with that, it's a pain in the rear. And probably shouldn't have said it that way, but anyway, we're here live. That's what they help solve. So beyond that, helping with coaching, helping with learning, helping with training, helping get those things organized and together so that companies can get their people in, get them developed, get them back to work instead of having to hassle through all the logistics and stuff. That's one of the things that they really focus on. Perceptics here, we're going to the talent management category. So Perceptics, they're doing some pretty incredible work in AI. George, I know you've also had a chance to see some of this, but they're using AI to enable better coaching, employee feedback, so many other areas. They really are a pioneer in using AI for talent purposes, and not to keep people at arm's length, but to help us know the people better so we can serve them better, which is what excites me on so many fronts. And then our friends over at Harbinger Group, they are a finalist in this category. One of their key stats from their case study, I don't have it right here in front of me, but it was encouraging because they're using AI to help companies answer questions, a lot of the HR service delivery piece, and some of the other parts of managing talent. And listen, people have questions about some of these kind of things. We're answering 80-90% of those right out of the box and without any additional training of the model. And those sorts of things to me are exciting because not for the AI itself, but for the opportunity and unlocks for us to focus on the people side and really bring out their best. All right. So continuing on, best comprehensive solution. JD Expert, I used to know them as a job description tool. And so when our team was putting together feedback and we were getting our judges' comments back, I saw some of the comments and I was like, did they review the right company? Because they were talking about all these other use cases that JD Expert is focused on beyond just the job description. And so I actually took a peek at it and saw some of the things they were doing there. Really incredible, truly well done. Congratulations. BetterWorks. I mean, if you want a solid platform for OKRs, for the flexibility to meet enterprise demands, where this division has different demands than this division, or this cycle has to be different than that cycle, like they have the ability to do that flexibility piece. Excellent customer stories. Congratulations to BetterWorks for their win here, best comprehensive solution. And then A Talent was a new one to me. I was not familiar with them. They are doing some creative things, really interesting, around using AI to break down tasks and align them to goals. So George, if you're setting goals for your team that you're funneling them down from the top goals of the company, A Talent helps you break those down into, well, here's some goals that might fit George, or vice versa. Hey, if you're trying to figure out what goals you have, how do those align back to the goals of the business? And it helps to keep that connected and in sync. And I think that's a really powerful way to make sure that vision, that clarity is there for people. Continuing on, talent management, best innovative. So Clear Company has been in the space for quite some time, many years. I actually was with a company when I was doing some HR consulting, mentioned that many years ago, that they had actually decided to go with Clear Company for their recruiting solution. And for a long time, it's all I knew them as. And they have so many other things. Their team, they've had a new team, like a breath of fresh air, really coming in, innovating some creative ways. Our judges liked Clear Insights, which is their tool to drill down into their data using AI. So some creative things they're doing there. Congratulations. Humareso, our friends over there, talent management winner, best culture building solution. So they're bringing talent solutions, culture solutions, George, not just to the biggest organizations, but some of these smaller organizations, mid-sized companies that may not have access to the tools or know what's out there. They're weaving that into how they're serving them. And it's adding a layer of value that other HR consulting companies have a hard time competing with, honestly. So best culture building solution. I know culture is a big focus for John and his entire team. I've seen Robin in the chat waving to you here. Congratulations to y'all for that win. And then best mid-sized business solution, 15.5. There, George, I think this is one that you might have had a hand in taking a look at what 15.5 was doing. I've known them as a performance solution for a long time. But every time I come back to them again, they're doing something new and they're expanding out even what I think I would define as performance. Anything that might stand out to you there, or anything that you remember from taking a look at that?
Yeah, I think the key focus, and one of the things that stuck out specifically in the judges' eyes as well was how they were taking the insights to actions with success planning and performance actions. And so everybody says meaningful survey. What does that mean? When I think of meaningful of anything, that means that action is being taken place and there's outcomes from that, right? And so meaningful actions, communication was a huge piece on that team portion that they're doing. So providing all the data points, that's great. But what succession plan, what performance actions are we going to take that actually provides a meaningful outcomes from there? And so some of the things that stuck out from the judges and myself really aligned there.
Excellent. All right, we're cruising in towards the end here. I know we've got last one here, and then we're going total rewards, well-being. We have a couple of other announcements and key things to share at the end. So hang with us. We're almost done today. So best talent intelligence solution for talent management was Phenom. Their customer case study they shared, this company, this global health insurance company, they use Phenom to map 1,500 different career paths. They fill 37% of their roles with internal hires because of the insight they gather from this solution. So congratulations to them for their win. Really well done. Saw some pretty wild stuff from them that's too new to share in the awards yet, but some new things coming from them around agentic AI, both in talent management and talent acquisition recently. And so pretty cool. I wish they have it. I'll give them a shout out because I haven't done this on LinkedIn yet. I got a chance to meet Simone Biles. She signed a laptop. Thank you to Phenom for bringing her to your conference. All right. Lastly here, so Engagedly, talent management, best innovative solution. They're a finalist in this category. So they've got this robust platform, goals, feedback, all these critical pieces of how talent management and building culture fit together and knit together in the business. And they consistently surprise me when I have a chance to meet with their team and see what they're up to and see how far they've come. They're doing some creative things around AI to use that to help make this easier for companies. That's not the specific focus of this entry, but overall, they're doing some pretty incredible things. So congratulations to them as a finalist. All right, George, final category here, making it through. Total rewards, employee well-being. How do we treat people? How do we compensate them? How do we make sure they feel like they are respected, appreciated, supported in the business? All those pieces. So let's jump through these and we'll wrap up today. So WageStream is our winner for frontline focused solution. When companies start using that, their workers report back that they have less financial stress within just 90 days. So that sort of thing starts to tell you that it's having an impact. It's helping them feel more in control of something like finance, which isn't a work thing. That's a life thing. That's a personal thing. So really powerful outcome there. Bucket list rewards is total rewards and well-being culture building solution. They're all around using rewards, recognition to drive culture, key values. George and I actually had a chance to meet one of their leaders last year, and I have taken up doing what he does. I'll give a shout out to Jason. When he's on a call and you say something he likes, he's like thumbs up. And I started doing like thumbs up on virtual meetings because of that, unintentionally, but it just catches on. So congratulations, bucket list. Yeah. And then best analytics and measurements. The finalist here is BenTech. So their focus is also like one of the ones earlier I talked about, the challenge of the public sector. They focus on public sector and helping companies, helping municipalities, governments manage benefits, keep track of all those things. It's a different kind of animal, honestly. And they're helping them to keep that in one place, make better decisions, use their data more actively. And we appreciate them for their work there. All right.
Ben, one of the things I just want to point out real quick, because this is hot off the press for me, especially I believe it was WageStream. I was at a conference, spoke at a conference here at Skira down in Bloomington, Indiana, a local chapter group, Sherman chapter group down there. And Chris Thinkson, a mutual friend of both of ours, was talking about 3 to 7 hours a week is wasted by an employee who is dealing with financial stress. And so when you think about that, 3 to 7 hours, and so he's like, let's just play it fair, right? 5 hours, that's 20 hours a month, all right, across 20 months. How many other employees are dealing with this type of stress? Think about the laws on average, just based on an average company size of 100 or so people, you're talking about $306,000 a year that is wasted because of employee stress. And when you talk about some of these companies that are doing well in the total rewards and employee well-being, the impact of educating and really providing solutions to your employees. As a former retail owner of multiple stores, think about how many employees we had over the course of 4 or 5 years and 18 plus locations. A lot of employees are dealing with this. They're dealing with stress. More employees are dealing with it now, being as the return to office, because the budget for gas isn't there anymore. The budget for daycare has been consumed as well. And so for those who are out there, employers, entrepreneurs, business owners, leaders, when you talk about total rewards and well-being of employees, think about the financial stress when it comes to some of these solutions. Think about connecting with some of these providers that are doing a great job in that space. I just want to highlight that because that really shook my core, thinking about the employees who are dealing with financial stress and the toll it takes, not just on them, but how it impacts their work.
Yes. And so what I love about the things we're going to see in the next few bits here, George, is it's not just about here's your paycheck, go away, but if we can teach you how to use it better, to be wiser around that, to make better choices, all those pieces of that, the education component is so powerful. Yeah. So speaking of pay, Mercer's focus, best comprehensive solution, they have built a solution that helps companies be more fair and equitable in their pay. And what we find in our data are that high-performing companies, comes better revenue, better retention, better engagement scores, all those things that matter to us as HR leaders, those companies are more likely to be putting pay fairness, pay equity as one of their key priorities. So congratulations to Mercer on helping companies enable that, make that possible. You were at HRSoft, best comprehensive solution here for compensation management. They really help companies to manage the merits, process all those things. I remember password protected spreadsheets, and I'm getting like the flashback negative feelings here. So congratulations to them for winning, and thank you for taking that thing that's a nightmare for me and so many others off their plate, so they can use a piece of technology to solve those problems around allocating their budgets, getting people paid fairly, all those sorts of things. And then our finalist here, Business Solver, really helping companies to make better business decisions, hands down. When we're trying to figure out how to give our people tools, benefits, resources that really engage with them, engage with their families, the things that they need to be able to manage their life, that crosses over so many boundaries, and they're helping those people at a personal human level to walk through those decisions and make that happen. And then on the employer side, you're getting reporting, analytics, insights to help you know that you're doing the right thing for your people. All right, so we have 2 finalists here, left and right. Stage left is PayFederate. They're helping companies get a handle on their pay, market pricing, pay rates, those sorts of things, and helping companies to manage all of that and keep it in a comprehensive way, solve those problems. And then Daily Pay, very different approach, but also a finalist here, helping people access their earned wages before payday, period. When we actually survey the frontline workforce, we just finished a big study on this. We're going to be releasing some findings soon. But when we ask frontline workers, how do you define flexibility at work? When I get paid ranks higher than where I work for a frontline worker. So when I get paid, if I have control over that, it helps me, like you were saying, George, be able to manage and navigate my life, which is such an important piece for them. And then financial finesse. This is another one. There were a handful this year I've mentioned where our judges were like, wow, was the response to that. And that was one of those. Personalized finance plans, intuitive consumer grade technology, all the buzzwords there, but it's really designed to help people take control of their finances in a meaningful way. And congratulations to them for winning for that category, best innovative or emerging tech solution. Very, very well done. Whew, okay, George, I know everybody else, you're hanging with us. Thank you for spending some time with us today. I appreciate it. And there's so many good comments here. I appreciate it. I'll go back and check them once I'm done. We're done with the stream. Couple things to run through. George, you want me to take this one, or you want to start us off?
Yeah, what's next? Important to know that winners obviously will be posted on HR Tech Awards website. You can visit at hrtechawards.org, hrtechawards.org, and that'll be posted. As well, we'll be doing a blog recognizing winners of the Lighthouse Research Advisory with some comments from the judges, some insights that we saw there. So we're excited about that. And then Unleash America, Ben, I'm gonna let you take this one because I'm excited to be at Unleash as the MC of the main stage and be able to do some of these awards as well. But we're gonna be doing something different. This is totally new. First year ever Best in Class Awards. Ben, speak on that for us.
Yeah, really quickly. So anyone who is a winner in the program right now, you are eligible to be one of those. You'll be eligible for a Best in Class. So we'll be picking a few per category. So talent acquisition, talent management, and so on. We're picking a few per category to be Best in Class awards. We're going to be giving those out on site during a live ceremony at Unleash. It happens on May 7th, that first big day of the conference. There's a first day with summits, the big day of the conference with the opening, everything else. That's where we're going to be doing that. So we'll be sharing some more details with those companies who are winners about that, what that looks like, what to expect, all those things. But I'm so excited about it. And you heard from Mark earlier at the start today from Unleash about the excitement they have around this. They work with so many companies in the community like we do here at Lighthouse, and we respect and appreciate you. We know it's hard work. We know it's not easy, but we know that it's meaningful and you're helping companies. George, we didn't talk about this at all, really. I mean, you might have touched on it a little bit earlier on about the judging process, but we look at a little bit of the company behind the product. And are you making an impact on your people? Are you making an impact on the community? And we're looking at those kind of people and companies. And I have the pleasure of knowing so many of them. They're doing good things there. So we appreciate all of you for that. And then lastly, we'll be publishing case studies in the winners in the coming months. Those come out on the blog. And so any of the tens of thousands of buyers that are in the community that we reach here at Lighthouse are going to find those, are going to see those. They can read about what you're doing for those companies. If you called out, please keep that confidential. We don't identify those companies in that, just to keep that safe. So we'll be sharing those case studies out for the winners. And then George, the only other thing that I had other than a thank you is the next thing for us past Unleash. The next big thing for us at Lighthouse will be HR Summer School. That happens early in June. I should put the link here. hrsummerschool.org is the website, but we already have nearly 3,000 people signed up for that. So it's a really great way for us to engage with the HR community. So if any of you out there want to know more about it, reach out to me, reach out to George. We can help plug you in, tell you more about the event and what we're doing there. But we hear from people all the time, George. It's their favorite event. You and I were actually swapping pictures yesterday because we meet these people across the U.S. and across the world when we're traveling that attend this event. appreciate the opportunity to really get connected with other people and to learn something new.
Yeah, I'm excited about HR Summer School. For me, Ben, I know it's a little bit jealousy on your end, and it's okay. Although we did one before this past month, but I've been able to spend a little bit of time with some of our HR Summer School alumni through some of the local state chapter groups and our individual groups that we do every month with HR Summer School lunch break. So nice plug there. I get a little bit of HR Summer School for about an hour every month with our lunch break webinar series, but nothing, and I mean nothing, from a conference event standpoint. Is anything crazier than HR Summer School. And like you said, over 3,000 people already registered in the first 2 weeks. It is going to be a fun ride.
Excellent. All right. I think I've said thank you to all of you enough times. Probably I'll do it one last time. Not just thank you for joining us for this session. Thank you for all the comments and the engagement here today. But George and I appreciate all of you for doing what you're doing. We're seeing in the research, George, so often, all these different studies, learning, talent, HR, it's coming through so often that people are saying more than ever that the tools they're using are truly an enabler of their performance. They're helping them to reclaim some of their time, some of their excitement for the work that they're doing, whether it's in recruiting or it's building learning content or it's paying people, whatever it happens to be. You're helping do that as a community through the things you're building and the way you're doing that. And to any of the employers out there listening into this stream today, you're hearing me talk about these things. These companies are the ones that we're trying to give you a way to build that short list, to give you someone to start with, someone that's just not just a cold Google off the internet, but some of these companies we're meeting with, hearing from, are truly the best of the best. There are thousands of companies in the HR tech space, and we're just showing you a small sliver of the ones that we really respect and appreciate. So thank you to all of you for that. George, I think we're ready to wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.